เอาละค่ะต่อจากนี้นะคะเราจะเข้าสู่ช่วงการเสวนากันแล้วนะคะในโอกาสนี้ค่ะดิฉันใครขอเรียนเชิญค่ะท่านชัดชาติสิทธิพันธ์ค่ะ Please welcome Mr. ชัดชาติสิทธิพันธ์ Governor Bangkok Mr. Hugh Lim, Executive Director, Center of Livable City, Singapore, as well as Ms. Anna Jürgen Bybrik, Minister, Counselor, and Deputy Head of Mission, Embassy of Sweden in Bangkok. แล้วก็ในครั้งนี้นะคะเราก็มี Moderator ของเราด้วยนะคะดิฉันใครขอเรียนเชิญผู้ดำเนินรายการของเราค่ะคุณสุกิตอุทินทุด้วยค่ะกับเรียนเชิญค่ะก็เป็นอีกหนึ่งช่วงเสวนาที่น่าสนใจมากๆนี่ขออนุญาตยกหน้าที่นะคะให้กับคุณสุกิตเลยค่ะระหว่างนี้นะคะก็สามารถแลกรับเครื่องแปลภาษาได้ภายในฮอลล์ของเราเลยนะคะไม่จำเป็นต้องออกไปด้านนอกนะคะแลกได้เลยเชิญเลยค่ะ
Good morning, everyone. The next session is very interesting. We will talk about SDG 11, Sustainable City. The topic is about metropolitan management for quality of life. So you hear about management of the city and also the quality of life. Today, we have the special guests from 3 countries, Sweden, Singapore, and Thailand. So we will share the vision and what we do a good thing in all these countries. So we will begin with the story of Sweden. Please, Kun Anna, you can show your story of Sweden.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. We will now go on a virtual journey around my country of Sweden. In this film that we will see, there will be a display of various cities, of one which is actually a sister city to Bangkok, I should say, Sollefteå. Happy to have them featured in this film. And we will see ongoing efforts in these cities on how to address the green transition. There's a lot of ongoing work when it comes to transport, energy, recycling, heating, and so on. So you will see many examples that we can discuss them later, but I'm very happy to now show the film. Thank you so much.
Would you like to explore smart and sustainable city solutions from Sweden? Whether you're interested in energy, mobility, digitalization, urban planning, social sustainability, or all of it, we can offer you a tool that can make your city even smarter and more sustainable. In 2030, 70% of Sweden's transports should be fossil-free. This goal will be met by shifting from fossil fuels to biofuels, such as biogas, bioethanol, and biodiesel, but also electricity.
Transportation in our city has changed in many ways. Public transport has been electrified and also runs on renewable fuels to almost 100%. This ferry is one example, and it's now electrified.
We want to use leg muscle instead of fossil fuels. And that gives a city environment with less noise, no smell, and more smiles.
Sweden has a big focus on digital innovation, and digitalization is the foundation of a smart and safe city.
Drive Sweden focuses on the collaboration between stakeholders that is necessary to transform the mobility system of tomorrow. Digitalization, automation, sharing of different transport solutions are very important components in this. Our vision is a sustainable, accessible, and safe transport system for all.
Vision Zero, the policy about zero deaths in traffic, was invented here in Sweden 25 years ago. Many or most thought it was a ridiculous idea. But we're getting closer, and with new technology just around the corner, we actually can get there.
The world's increasing need for renewable energy takes us to northern Sweden with great assets when it comes to renewable energy production from hydro, biomass, and wind power. That's what attracted the company Northvolt to establish here in Skellefteå to produce lithium-ion batteries by green energy from the surroundings.
This will mean that Skellefteå will grow with thousands of jobs and thousands of inhabitants. It's up to us, really, to build a sustainable city. The official and the commercial forces, along with research and the inhabitants, collaboration is the only way to make it happen.
And here, by the way, we have our new cultural centre, Sara, wooden building.
Växjö in the south of Sweden goes even further. At the modern wooden city, at least 50% of new construction will be made of the renewable building material, wood.
And now we're here at the Velebroa, which is probably Europe's biggest showroom when it comes to building in wood. We also build schools, sport arenas, offices.
Let's move on to Umeå, which is a global leading example within gender equality and inclusion in urban planning.
The work with gender equality is visible in the city in many different ways. For example, a tunnel where we worked with making it broad, making it light, making sure that all inhabitants of Umeå can feel safe and like it's a space that belongs to them, walking through it day and night.
As a city district, Vallastaden is unique in itself. The Vallastaden model includes focus on social and ecological sustainability. The result is a vibrant district centered around its residents.
The vision for this city district has been green, dense, and mixed. And all that is possible thanks to the infraculture.
District heating systems, freshwater systems, road bands in here, for the waste management systems. The great advantages with this infraculture system is that you can collect all the utilities in one place. You can maintain and serve all these things without disturbing the residents in the area.
To create a circular system, collaboration between different sectors in society is key. In the south of Sweden, cooperation between companies, municipalities, and academia has led to innovative solutions.
The time when waste was considered a problem is over. We see waste as a resource. This packaging might look like plastic, but it isn't. Fully degradable, renewable, compostable.
Could IKEA grow their own salad out of their food waste? We are very happy with the quality in these systems.
And the final stop on this little tour, Falun and the Eco Data Center.
The ICT and telecom business is a dirty business, even dirtier than the aviation business. Here we do it in a climate positive way by using the heat from the servers, push it straight down to the combined heat and power plant, and from there to the inhabitants of Falun. It's smart, it's circular, and it's innovative.
Smart City Sweden is welcoming delegations from all over the world and offer digital or physical meetings to learn more about Swedish city solutions and how to implement them in a local context. Get in touch with us to explore how we can collaborate to create a more sustainable future.
Beautiful story from our friend from Sweden. In Swedish, you do a lot of things begin from mindset of the people, right? And then it comes to urban planning, habitat, connectivity, and all circular economy is within your, everyday life. So congratulations. Do you want to say something more on that?
Well, just to add, I think the film shows very well that it needs to be easy to do the right thing. We need to have the infrastructure in place when it comes to transport, when it comes to recycling. It's not only about awareness. Awareness is important, but if you want to recycle your plastics, your metal, and there is no infrastructure to do it, it's difficult. So we need both. I mean, we need many elements, but infrastructure and awareness together, I think, are key here.
Yeah, right. If you're searching for top 10 sustainable city in the world, the Swedish city coming up like Stockholm, Gothenburg, and more. Now, we will go to our region, Singapore. Singapore is one of the best practice in sustainable city. When we go to Singapore, at the airport, we see garden in the airport, garden in the city. Mr. Lim, can you show us the idea of Singapore, how you develop the sustainable city?
Thank you, Sukhich. Sawadee Krap. Good morning to all our friends who have joined us this morning. I would like to thank our organizers for inviting me to join this prestigious panel and to share a little bit about Singapore's urban sustainability journey. I represent the Center for Livable Cities, and we are a knowledge center that was set up under the Singapore Sustainability Blueprint 2008. So we've been around for about 15 years, and as a knowledge center, we put together the experience that Singapore has had in moving to be a livable and a sustainable city. Let me share this morning that firstly, by 2050, nearly 70% of the world's population are projected to live in urban areas like Bangkok and Singapore. And in Asia, the urban population, the number of people living in cities, is expected to double from about 1.6 billion to 3 billion by 2050. So this unprecedented urbanization represents both incredible opportunities for raising the standard of living for people in Asia, but also daunting challenges as major cities have to cope with the increase in population. So in line with the theme for today's panel, I would like to speak on two main things. One is, of course, how to achieve inclusive growth in our cities, and secondly, addressing the challenge of climate change. I will share a little bit about Singapore's efforts in managing these challenges. So while the worst of COVID-19 may be over for us, many cities still face the long-term challenges which are magnified by the effects of the pandemic, like widening gaps in income and opportunities, and coupled with other major concerns like the climate crisis, geopolitical contests, slowing economic growth, and potential disruption that come from technology. The challenge of finding the right balance between competing needs and demands in cities has become even more difficult. And if we leave this to the market alone, the challenges could widen the socio-economic gaps that our residents face. Climate change alone will pose significant challenges for cities in the future, and coastal cities like Singapore and Bangkok face the increased risk from extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and the urban heat island effect, which can lead to health problems as well as even higher carbon emissions. Additionally, climate change impacts urban infrastructure, public health, and the economy, and it underlines the urgent need for holistic and robust urban planning and policies. So Singapore's context as an island city-state further challenges us in how we deal with these challenges. Firstly, Singapore's population today has grown to about 5.9 million, and has a high density of almost 8,000 persons per square kilometer. In comparison, I understand Bangkok's urban density is about 6,800 persons per square kilometer. Singapore, of course, has to provide for a wide range of infrastructure. This includes our airport, our seaports, our power generation, our reservoirs, our water and waste treatment, and other facilities which typically you don't have to fit inside the city itself. But like all other cities, Singapore has to adapt and transform to ensure that we cater for inclusive and sustainable growth while building our resilience to the effects of climate change. Now, our city planning as well as our social and municipal policies must proactively identify the needs of the underprivileged as well as vulnerable groups. And we have to understand the challenges that they face to ensure they continue to have access to the city's economic opportunities and affordable services. And this includes housing, healthcare, education, and public transport. Now, one vulnerable group that we are concerned about in Singapore are the elderly. They face risks such as social isolation, mobility issues, and lack of access to care and support. So in Singapore, by 2030, we expect that 1 out of every 4 of the city's residents will be over the age of 65. And this makes us a super aged city. So we have different housing typology tailored to the needs of our seniors. One of these is what we show on the slide here. It's what we call community care apartments. This has been recently launched, and it is a housing arrangement where we pair senior-friendly housing with personalized care services such as health check, 24-hour emergency response, meal and laundry service, and social programming, such as activities in the communal or the shared spaces. So this enables our seniors in Singapore to be able to age in the community and not have to be withdrawn to a care home. We are also embarking on a program called Age Well Singapore, and it's meant to support our seniors in their own homes as well as in the community through a comprehensive nationwide transformation across the areas of transport, housing, active aging, and care services. So, while our metropolitan administrations play a key role in shaping cities for all, a sustainable and inclusive city actually requires buy-in from our citizens, and in turn will also benefit from communities taking the lead. So while the topic of this session is about management, actually it is really about leadership. And the leadership is, of course, by leaders at the top, like our Honorable Governor of Bangkok, but also leadership from the community coming forward to nurture a community spirit and to facilitate active ground-up participation. So on the slide here, what you can see is an example of where the government take the lead in the long-term planning of Singapore, but we invite the citizens to take part in that long-term planning exercise. So in this slide on the left, what you see is a long-term planning review, public engagement. We involve 15,000 people in this exercise. And you can see people are masked up because this was happening in 2021, even while the pandemic was going on. So we were serious about bringing our citizens to contribute their ideas. And some of the things that they brought up as citizens included the importance of accessible and affordable housing, making sure we deal with climate change, but also making sure that we have more green spaces in the community. Another example is what we call the Friends of Our Heartlands Network, where our Housing and Development Board actually nurtures a community of change makers who actually come forward to be able to identify ideas that the community itself will benefit from. And this includes how to enliven common spaces, how to engage the elderly, many of whom live on their own, and how to co-design neighborhood projects, including playgrounds, so that they cater both for the young and the old. So I'll switch topics to the second area, which is really about building a resilient and sustainable future for tackling climate change. So for low-lying cities like Singapore, sea level rise is not a future problem because it's something we have to act on today. And our Prime Minister himself mentioned just a few years ago that dealing with sea level rise is something that we have to be prepared for. Singapore itself has committed to a major effort. We have committed almost $100 billion over the next 100 years to make sure that we are better prepared for the rise of the seas around us. But in Singapore, we are also trialing different coastal protection solutions, and this includes nature-based solutions. One such solution uses our mangrove forests to dissipate waves and to trap sediment as seen in our coastal areas. To further research in this area, we also have a marine climate science program, which was launched to be able to recognize how to safeguard our coastal and marine ecosystems and also what their value is in carbon capture. The Public Utilities Board also recently launched a $125 million coastal protection and flood management research program. And it is partnering universities, international organizations, and industry to identify flood and coastal protection solutions, which may be useful not just for Singapore, but for many cities in our region. Finally, as we step up our climate adaptation work, cities also need to accelerate our decarbonization efforts. So the Singapore Green Building Master Plan 2030, it was launched to make sure that we pursue even more ambitious sustainability standards for the built environment. So there are 3 goals under this plan. By 2030, we expect to green 80% of Singapore's buildings by floor area, and 80% of all new buildings will be super low energy, meaning they save at least 60% or more energy compared to a similar building 25 years earlier. And thirdly, our best-in-class buildings will save at least 80% or more. And these are all intended to cut the carbon footprint of our buildings. So beyond the buildings, it's important to scale up solutions at the district level. And in Singapore, we have the Jurong Lake District, which has been identified as a second CBD. And it represents really our next generation sustainable district. And it will aim to reach net zero emissions by 2045, so 5 years earlier than the national target. So in Singapore, we also launched the Green Action for Communities, and it actually brings together local communities to jointly plan and implement sustainability measures in their neighborhoods. And again, what you see here are just some of those ideas. For example, an eco-hub in one of our residential neighborhoods, which was an idea that was suggested by the community itself. So in conclusion, cities worldwide have to confront the challenges of greater urbanization, more people coming to live in our cities, but also how to tackle climate change and social inclusion. And I've shared briefly on Singapore's continuing journey towards livability and sustainability. And I hope that we can continue to work collaboratively to nurture community spirit and to embrace sustainable practices which we can build inclusive, resilient, and sustainable cities for generations to come. So this is a conversation, of course, that we hope to continue at the World City Summit that we will host in Singapore in June next year. And of course, we look forward to seeing many of you present at this important conversation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lim. You can see the Singapore model. Singapore has a long-term development plan about urban planning, and you will keep moving. You know that the island of Singapore is not sustained because sea level will rise, global warming will come, so you prepare for the future. You have a resilient city, sustainable water system, connectivity, and a lot of things. And amazing that you will have a new building code, very low energy of the building. And the most interesting is the city for all, for the older generation, younger generation, and they have a place that even the one who left behind, handicapped, can traveling by themselves. It's all very good for the city. And now we will hear something from Governor Chatchat about the city of Bangkok. Bangkok is the most visited city of the tourists around the world. I think every year around 20 to 23 million people visit Thailand, and they love to come to Thailand. And the Thailand has really diversified. Ajahn Chatchat, can you tell me about sustainability of Bangkok?
ครับสวัสดีครับทุกคนครับ Thank you for the session. I think the key theme of this session will be Metropolitan Management for Quality of Life. So I try to avoid sustainability because we talk a lot about it, but how you make it relevant to the people, because sometimes it seems so far away for many people when you talk about sustainability, you know. But I think when you talk about quality of life, more meaningful for many people, and I think it's people can relate to quality of life. I think it's correct. You have want to be sustainable. I think you will have good quality of life, right? So for Bangkok, there are two numbers. I think you already mentioned Bangkok. We have two important numbers. Number 1 and number 98. It's not the lottery ticket, but it's just number 1. I think you already mentioned. We are most visited city in the world. So we must have something good that people want to visit. But number 98 is our livability index. So maybe you don't want to stay in Bangkok for too long, you know. You come here for 7 days, you'll be happy, enjoying the chaotic scene in Bangkok. But you want to stay here for 1 month, you may think longer. So 98 is the thing that we have to worry because it means that our quality of life or even our sustainability may be not good. Interesting number for our friends here too. This one just came out in June this year, right? Such livability index for Mr. Lim is your job. But Singapore did quite well, right? I mean, you got number 33 from 140 and Stockholm number 42 from 140 and Bangkok is number 98. But good news is we can improve easier than both of you because we are in much lower, so we have lots of room for improvement, so maybe easier for us to climb up. But look at the number: stability, healthcare, culture, education, infrastructure. So I think many of the number we need improvement. So when you talk about sustainable or quality of life, you don't talk only of one dimension, but there are many challenges that cities have to face. So I think that our goal, we have to improve on this number. And I mean, all the categories are here so we can look in the details, right? And if you live in Bangkok, you will know this picture, right? We have mobility problem, traffic jam. I show the bad pictures first, and there'll be some good pictures at the end to have a good memory at the end. And you have like air quality, PM 2.5, you know. We have flooding caused by global warming. And just warning, this evening will be big rain for you. So prepare your travel properly. The prediction will be heavy rain tonight. So, and waste management, right? We create 10,000 tons of garbage every day in Bangkok. And many of them go to landfills. So we don't really recycle it. So it's not the sustainable way of handling the waste in Bangkok. Or water quality, right? We should learn from you to reuse the water better, right? So I think these are the challenges that we have. And the green space, public space, even we have double the space of Singapore. I think we have less green space than Singapore. We have like 1,500 square kilometer. You have maybe 600 square kilometer. But I think our green space may be less than Singapore. So I think we need to improve on that. And all these issues related to quality of life and sustainability. And I think at the end, everything leads to this inequalities, you know. Because I'm not sure which one comes first, inequality or sustainability. But I'm sure these two things correlate. You cannot have a sustainable society with large gap of inequalities. So you have to go together because if you have better quality of life, it means that everyone is happy. And I think I like the word by professor at Harvard. You know, he wrote the book Triumph of the City. And he said there is no such thing as a successful city without human capital. So I think at the end, our goal is to bring more talents to the city. You know, to survive in the future, you cannot survive without the talents. And talents, they will choose the place where they have better quality of life, right? So we chose to go to work at Stockholm, at Singapore. You have better livability index. You have better quality of life. So we will not survive if we want to improve the quality of life. So don't talk about sustainability. Talk about the survival of the city itself. You need better quality of life. So I think our vision would be quite simple. You know, we want Bangkok to be a livable city for all. So we have to learn from your center, Mr. Lim, Center for Livable City, right? And I think for all, it's important. We can make Bangkok livable city for some people, not difficult. You can afford to live by the train line. Maybe you don't have to touch the ground. You take the train, you go skywalk, enter the building, go to the gym, eat the restaurant, you know. So it can be livable for some, but for all, it's a challenging. So I think to manage a city for livability, you have to address many issues. Like we have like 9 guiding policy, we have many index that we want to drive. Right? So you have to look at environment, health, mobility, safety, management, infrastructure, economy, creativity, and learning. I said education is important. So sustainability not only reducing the carbon dioxide, But improving education will lead to better sustainability. So I think in Sweden, I think education will be the key thing, right? If you not have a good education, difficult to promote sustainability. So I think there are many things that we have to do. So we have like 260 action plans that we are implementing. And after we look at our problem seriously, we feel that we have 4 duties: to increase their productivity, to improve quality of life, create opportunity for all, and building trust. And I think the fourth item very important because you need collaboration from the people. We have maybe 10 million people. How can they trust us and we trust them? And we work together. So it's one of the challenging thing that we have to do. And I think I talk about this many times, right? I mean, the cities look like a human body, a vascular system. You have arterial system, major blood vessel, and you have tiny blood vessel, capillaries. And these two systems have to be good, both of them. Otherwise, it's like the chain that you have a weak link. You might have a good mega project, good arterial system, but you have weak capillary, end up the system fail. So the chain is as strong as the weakest link, as same as the city too, right? If you look at our plan for the future transportation, we have train lines, 11 train lines, nearly 500 kilometers, go everywhere in Bangkok. And we have the color as much as the rainbow colors, the train. So this is the arterial system. But when you look at the capillary, when you got home, you still need motorcycle taxi. You walk on the footpath, poorly and flooding. So with the poor capillary, you cannot have a good quality of life or good sustainable city. You see the footpath. I think many of you will be familiar with these pictures, right? Or even, so we improve it. So we improve this, and I'm sure that this one will improve the quality of life for the people. So we make the footpath better, make it accessible for the wheelchair. So it's in our DNA that every time we make a new street, think about our friends who cannot walk. I mean, you experience it right now, right? Because to be on the wheelchair, not easy to live in Bangkok. In healthcare, we have the world-class hospital, Chulalongkorn or even BMA. But look at the primary care in the community, right? It's not so far from here, I think only 2 kilometers from here. At this location, we have a community that is in Klong Tei. And the healthcare, the health center, 82 staff handle 100,000 people, right? So you have to improve the quality of the capillary healthcare system too, right? So now we improve the health center in community to have better service, provide better quality of life. And then when you have better health, you can lead to more sustainable city for sure. Right? You have like technology to improve the healthcare. Or the park, I mean, we are lucky enough to live by the Benjakiti Park, right? Big park. But if you live in the community, sometimes this is what you got, like small park, that you have no access to the good quality park. So we have a policy of building the 15-minute park. Our dream would, every home can reach the park by 15-minute walk. So now we start implementing this all over Bangkok to improve quality of life and sustainable. Or education, right? We have world-class universities, higher education. But look at our child care centers, very poorly managed. And this is the most critical time for brain development, 1 year to 6 years. So we have to focus on the capillary system for health education too, right? So now we improve our primary school, early childhood center for education. So that's how we improve the quality of life. The garbage incinerator, we have world-class garbage incinerator, but when you collect the garbage from home, you still need people, and then no garbage separation. So now we implement the program of Bangkok Zero Waste, try to separate the garbage, the compost, and more recycled thing, right? And I think sometimes we focus more, like me as a politician, right? We focus on the mega project, on arterial because it's more sexy, it's using more budget. But in fact, you need to focus on the capillary system because I think weak capillaries lead to inequalities. Or vice versa, maybe because of inequality, so we neglect them. We don't provide smaller things for smaller people, right? But I'm sure if we focus on this, we can improve We did many things during the last year. You see improvement in Bangkok. You see better quality of life. And I'm sure with better quality of life, it will lead to sustainable city in the future. I think one important role of the government in this field for sustainable, you need to create a level playing field. Otherwise, there will be someone who take advantage of others, use the regulation and for their advantage. So if you want serious about green building, make it a regulation and make the playing field more level so people follow the rules. So maybe that's all I have for this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor Chachat. We see the beautiful place of Bangkok, and what I see the change when Governor Chachat getting in is he work with small people. He work with the networking of the villager and the community, and I see the more engagement because the governor cannot work alone. We are limited of budget. There are limited of officer in the BMA, but he begin working with network, and network are volunteer, and they love their community, they love their city and try to help. This is a lot of movement in Ajahn Chachat leadership on that. Come back to Kun Anna. You see Governor Chachat talking about people, quality of life and DNA of sustainability. How Swedish people train or educate younger generation. You see in Thailand, in your video clip, we see e-care. Something is in DNA of e-care, or even Volvo that create a kind of EV, recycle, biocircular, that kind of thing. How you educate your younger generation and how you get them engaged in sustainable city.
Well, this is a very good question, and I think this is a very complex and many factors that play into this. I mean, if you look at also Sweden, what kind of country it is, it's covered to a large extent by forests, and Swedes are a nature-loving people, and we're a small country, dependent on the outside world. So, but given also, I think it starts from from within yourself that we want to preserve the nature that we live in, the kind of environment we have around us. And we have been, for that reason, I think, partly very conscious about environmental issues. And just an example, the first UN summit on environmental issues was held in Stockholm in 1972. And this was, of course, because of the very forward-leaning Swedish government at that time, engaging in these issues, saying we need to come together collectively, because it's not only one city or one country, it's a global issue, so we need global solution. But again, back to the small thing of education, I think it's really something that it's inherent, and that awareness about we have to take care of our nature and our environment. And again, given that we have the infrastructure that has been built up for this, and also a culture and tradition of innovation, we find solutions for the problems that we are facing. So a bit of a long answer, but I think all these factors are very, very important to kind of create this culture of awareness and a will to change and influence. Sorry, and also last thing, because it was mentioned about youth engagement. And we have very strong youth engagement in Sweden, and children are very important and very much in the center and are very engaged, and are also expected to play their part, and they do. And we know we have Greta Thunberg, a famous environmentalist activist, but she's one example of the kind of youth engagement which is important to drive the change, because the future lies with the youth, right? So.
Yeah, I know. We all know Greta Thunberg from your Swedish student who advocate for global warming, and it's very important because the world is not belong to us; it belong to them, that generation. So thank you very much. Come back to Kulim. What you present is very good because Singapore, you have long-term plan, you have strategy, you have management, but your center, the center of livable city is very important because the plan, they have to have somebody or some department to manage it. Can you tell me something about that? Because we just talked about if Bangkok BMA has that kind of department, they can help the governor running the sustainable faster. In case of Sweden, I think in Gothenburg, they have a sustainable manager of the city that can help. That's why there should have someone respond for this. And then in Singapore, your center is take care of that kind of movement?
Thank you very much for the question. And I think what is very important in an effort to improve livability and sustainability is it really takes a whole of government, but also a whole of nation, a whole of community approach. And for my center, we work on the public sector. So we work with many agencies and departments because sometimes in government, you can end up that everyone is trying to do a very good job, but sometimes what they do may actually be in tension, in competition with something else that's going on. So for Singapore, where land is concerned, for example, there's always very fierce competition for space. So we have to be able to work across different agencies to collectively decide what is the most important thing and give that the attention. So my center works a lot on education because we want to share with different agencies what is the perspective that the other department may have so that they understand and they know how to work together collectively. And increasingly in the fight for both sustainability and livability, we have to make sometimes compromises, because you want to optimize the big system, not the individual outcomes as well. In terms of education, I have to say that we have to spend actually more effort not educating the young alone, but also many professionals in the system. Because sometimes what we learn 20, 30 years ago, there's new knowledge and information that come about. And in the green building journey, for example, we worked a lot with the consultants, the builders, to introduce new techniques and understand how to be sustainable in the built environment. And I love to see the wooden building example in Sweden, because we also learned that actually it is a very good building material that is both sustainable and actually good for construction. But not many people in Singapore in the industry understand how to build with wood. And many of our fire departments associate wood with fire risk, so they don't like to see it inside. But in fact, it is an excellent fire-resistant material that can improve the quality as well as the sustainability of buildings. So this is, I think, points to us the importance of continuing education. And I think for all cities, we have to invest not only in the young, but also in adults and to raise the quality of their knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the final question is to Governor Chachat. At SX, we have a lot of stakeholders. Here, we have a lot of corporate people from business sector. We have the government agency. We have students at university. And in Bangkok, we cannot working alone. We have to work together for the goal. Can you say something to other stakeholders to help you get the sustainable city to achieve that goal, SDG 17?
Maybe I have a slide on this, the chapter 3. Perfect. I think the city job is so huge, And I think the BMA itself, we are like facilitator, but we cannot really do everything on our own. So I like the slides on, we call it quadruple helix of innovation. So in order to make a good improvement, you need collaboration of 4 parties. Hey, Mac, okay. So I think I love this slide because each one, like government or public, me as a government, right? Academic, industry, and citizen. Each one not strong, but if you combine together to be a helix of innovation, you can be strong and very efficient in improving the city. I think we have done that, And I like this quote by Isaac Newton, right? If I say further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. So we have giants. We have like Swedish experience. We have Singaporean experience, So we don't have to create anything from zero. We can learn from our friends who are giants in their field. And then with this, we can learn much faster. And like this event, if not by the Thai BEV, cannot be held, right? So I mean, the public and the private sector have to work together. And we collaborate a lot, during the first year. Many events not done by the government budget, but come from collaboration with government office, with people network, right? When I ran for the governor, I start by myself, but I ran as an independent. And we gather like volunteer, 10,000 volunteer, community expert, and we become the platform for collaboration. And we have so many hackathons during the first year, you know. So people come in and we hack for city solution. And I think people know better because they live with problems. They're the one who experience the problem firsthand. We may sometimes far away from the problem, right? So we have people, last time we just had it, last month we do hackathon for the platform to report city problem. We call traffic fondue. It's a simple application that you can take pictures of the problem in the city and report to us. So we have the hackathon for all these young students or maybe some people in the office, and they provide better solution for us. So I think collaboration is key thing. And if you want to make your life better, you want to improve your quality of life, just become part of the movement together. And we're more than happy to hear from you and then for your collaboration. So that's so important. And then there are many examples around the city that collaboration come from private sector, from the citizen, from the academic, and we can make a Bangkok Liberty for all with the collaboration.
Thank you very much. I think the Governor Chachat also conclude all the thing about partnership for the goal SDG 17. Now we hear the beautiful story from three countries, Sweden and Singapore and Thailand, and we hope this network will be going on, not at this stage, but we will work together to achieve the sustainable future of our mankind. So thank you very much, Ms. Anna, Mr. Lim, and Ajahn Chachat Sithipan. ขอบคุณครับ Thank you very much ครับ
Thank you very much to all of our guest speakers and our moderator ขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆอีกสักครั้งหนึ่งนะคะกับขอบพระคุณ guest speaker ของเรานะคะรวมถึงคุณสุกิตที่ได้ให้เกียรติร่วมดำเนินรายการนะคะต่อจากนี้เราจะเข้าสู่ photo session ค่ะอยากจะขอเรียนเชิญทุกท่านนะคะได้ยืนขึ้นแล้วก็สเต็ปลงมาสักนิดหนึ่ง Now we're going to have a photo session together kindly step down for our photographer เชิญเลยนะคะก็ได้รับความรู้ที่เป็นประโยชน์อย่างมากเลยนะคะสำหรับ panel discussion ในครั้งนี้ค่ะกับ Metropolitan Management Quality of Life นะคะต้องขอบพระคุณท่านชัชชาติสิทธิพันธ์ค่ะ Thank you very much to Mr. Yu Lim and as well as Miss Anna for this very special discussion of Metropolitan Management for Quality of Life